Albury Pioneer Cemetery has a large number of substantial grave sites, but tucked away in a back corner is a cluster of less substantial small plots. This is a baby section of the cemetery, and cemetery records explain that it includes the remains of 23 infants who died at the Bonegilla Migrant Reception Centre towards the end of 1949. Why did so many babies die? What do their deaths show about Australia's post-war immigration program and about Bonegilla? How did Australia go about taking in new arrivals, particularly the very young and vulnerable? There'd been a surge in the number of migrants arriving during 1949, when more ships became available to transport Europe's displaced persons to Australia. The Bonegilla Reception Centre was expanded. More new arrival accommodation centres had opened. Australia had begun to take in not just work-ready young people, but also family groups. The local community, and Santa Claus, found a large number of the new arrivals at Bonegilla were children. The very young weren't ready for the workforce, but they were a longer-term investment in population growth which post-war Australia wanted. The Minister for Immigration, Arthur Calwell, was always on hand to warmly embrace and welcome children at special events. It seemed that Calwell's beautiful waltz had become Calwell's kissable children. Newspapers noted wryly that his kindly kisses on the children's foreheads were publicity stunts made at taxpayers' expense. At the same time, he was exporting those who did not fit White Australia guidelines. One critical cartoonist had Calwell bestowing kindly kisses of goodbye as well as welcome. At Bonegilla in 1949, Calwell welcomed little boys and girls. He visited sick children in Bonegilla Hospital and reminded the press that more children died during war and its aftermath from starvation and illness than from violence. The people selected to come to Australia were comparatively healthy, he said. But 3 months later, the news broke that 7 newly arrived infants at Bonegilla had died from malnutrition. Newspapers speculated on who was to blame for children dying from hunger while in government care. An inquiry found the hospital at Bonegilla Reception Centre had a special children's ward but was grossly understaffed. The hospital even had a special malnutrition ward to treat sick children. Some suffering from gastroenteritis had been prescribed a shipboard diet of boiled water and nothing else by the ship's doctor. They may have been on that diet for 5 or 6 weeks. Calwell told Parliament that the deaths were tragic reminders of the conditions prevailing in war-devastated Europe. The deaths, he said, should encourage government to redouble its efforts to bring to Australia as many as possible of these innocent victims of war's cruel aftermath. The scandal had consequences. Improvements were quickly made at Bonegilla to make the former army camp suitable for families with children. A special children's feeding room was set up in a block of huts newly set aside for families with their very young children. The kitchen there was supplied with additional eggs and milk. High chairs and bassinets were installed. Older children were provided with newly installed outdoor playground equipment. Important visitors were shown new and improved hospital facilities. Through the 1950s, after the health scandal, publicity photos showed the special care taken of the health of preschoolers at the reception centre. There was now a professionally supervised creche. There were preschool kindergartens which combined healthy supervised play with lessons in the Australian way of life. Prospective migrants, the Australian public, the world were all assured that the Bonegilla Reception Centre was good at taking in young people. Beyond, and perhaps because of the 1949 health scandal, young children were considered precious.